Calvin and Sheila, thank you guys both for joining me. So my first question for anybody who's watching this and maybe hasn't seen or heard your story as of yet, before we talk about the Gold Star Parents Weekend Retreat, tell me about Etienne. Who was he? Why did he serve this nation? Why did he feel compelled to be called to do that?
Okay, Etienne is my baby boy. I think what compelled him to join the military was 9/11.
9/11.
I think he was maybe 6 or 7 when it happened. And I did not know that it had moved him to want to enlist in the military. I found that out afterwards from one of his ROTC junior teachers. They told me that he said that was why he wanted to do it. I just knew that when he was a little boy, all he wanted to do was play with those Army toy soldiers all the time, every day, all day. So I just kept buying them for him. I think it's my fault because I kept buying the toys for him. And then as he got older, I noticed he started watching more Army series like Band of Brothers. He was watching, watching all of these shows. And he said, "Mom, I want to go into the military." He was 17 and I had to sign the form for him. And I begged him not to. I didn't want to sign it for him, but I knew that if I didn't sign it, he was going to join it a year later. So I signed it, in support, and he was so happy. And Etienne is very headstrong. He is a good debater. I thought he was going to be an attorney because he will always debate with us. And every time he debated with us, he was always right. And
Calvin shaking his head because it looks like Calvin lost a couple of battles along the way.
He did. We both did. So that was his personality. Was he stood up for what was right, even when he was young. Like when he was 3 years old and he went to work with Calvin and his other 2 older brothers, he noticed that when the job was finished, Calvin paid his other brothers and not him. So the next time they were also supposed to go to work, and his father said, "You're not coming, Etienne?" He said, "No."
He said, "No." I said, "We're going to work." He said, "I'm not going." I'm like, "Why? Why you ain't going?" He said, "Well, you paid Calvin and Elijah, but you didn't pay me." I'm thinking he's only 3 years old.
He wouldn't notice.
It wasn't be a big deal to him. He's like, "No." He said, "I'm not going. I did all that work and I didn't get paid." Yes. And so he knows fair. He knows what's fair. He was a very driven young individual.
At the age of 3. So that's, and then he got into the military. He boot camp was at Fort Benning in Columbus. And then from there he went to 10th Mountain Division in Fort Drum, New York. And then after that, he said, "Mom, I want to be a Ranger." And he was a Ranger, and he was stationed in Savannah at Hunter Army Airfield.
Yeah. They don't just let everybody in that club.
No.
Well, that's what I'm hearing now.
Yeah, it was like 717 of them, and only 72 made it, and he was one of them.
Yep. 10%.
Yep.
Wow.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
Is it fair to say that he was prideful of his service?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I mean, even before he went into the Army, he used to do the competitions. He used to do the Army competitions in junior ROTC. He used to push them so hard, and if he didn't win, oh my God!
Wow.
Yeah, he was so angry. Yeah, that's why he gave his all.
Was he the kid at the I'm thinking at the county fair where the Marines have the pull-up thing, and he was the kid who'd show up and do 80 pull-ups?
You know what? Matter of fact, he has the push-up record. No one can.
Does he really?
He has the push-up. Yes.
Wow. Listen, the loss, there's our condolences. There's no way to even process how you navigate something like that. But it was 4 years ago, 2017, where you lost him in Syria. What is it like for you as mom and dad in those I'm thinking the first few months? Do you have people to turn to? Are you feeling just completely, I mean, the devastation would be obvious. Are you feeling lost in those moments?
Oh yeah, and when it first happened, yeah. I mean, in the beginning, everybody's there for you, but one by one, they start falling away. They start falling away, and then you're left alone. You get that period of time where you feel left alone, but then you find
people like Terry and Elizabeth Burgess come into your life.
Come into your life.
So
they give you purpose.
How did you find them, or how did they find you?
I think I'm not sure if someone referred them to me or if I saw them on Facebook, but I just want to go back a minute to when you said how you were feeling in those first moments, because this is going to really tie into Terry and them.
Mhm.
I can
Please.
remember everything I had on that day, but I can't remember what I had on yesterday. It's just, it was so, that event when they knocked on my door was so painful that
Mhm.
it never leaves. It never leaves. And the pain that I feel from that day has worsened. So every day it gets worse for me because it's another day without my son.
Yeah.
So I'm lost. And yes, family and friends tend to stay away because they can't deal with the pain and they can't deal with me always talking about Etienne, because I just talk about him all the time. So it's like my husband and I, we're basically here alone.
Most everybody I talk to who've experienced that kind of loss, and as we discussed prior to the interview, my loss of my dad, I guess the best way to describe it is it's a pain that only maybe those who have lived it can really kind of get it. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Exactly.
That is correct.
Yes, and the thing of it is that what's so great. I don't want to say great, but the pain is different for parents as it is for widows, as it is for siblings.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
would
what
agree.
makes
Different.
yes, and that's what makes the organization, the Gold Star Parents Retreat, so wonderful for Gold Star parents, because most of the time the parents are forgotten, especially if the fallen hero is married. The parents have no say. They really have no rights over their child unless the spouse wants to work with them. But we have no say, and we just feel forgotten, disrespected, and left out. And here
Describe-
comes, yes, Elizabeth and oh Lord, I just forgot
Terry.
Terry.
I know.
See, my mind goes like that all the time. But thanks be to God for them, because of that retreat, we were able to connect with other Gold Star parents experiencing the same things that we were. It was a weekend of healing, a weekend of learning, a weekend of being able to express your feelings.
Bonding.
Yes, without anyone saying, don't cry, don't say that, don't feel that way. We were able to cry, able to say things that many others don't like to hear, and everyone was so inviting, so loving, giving us the floor to speak, giving us the time to cry. If we needed to sit there for 20 minutes, there was someone there with you. I don't think Terry and Elizabeth realize how they're also, like another organization I'm with, saving lives for parents, because like I said, parents, really, Gold Star parents don't get the respect that they should. And what Terry and Elizabeth is doing is bridging that gap between loneliness and I don't want to say, I'm trying to think of it, because as I can only speak for myself. Some days I just want to die because the pain is just so bad, and I feel like there's no one else that feels the way I feel, and I feel alone. But then when you have these retreats that are geared just towards you, towards how you're feeling, and where you can relate with other moms and other dads, like my husband, he holds in his feelings, but he was able to express how he felt there with other men. He was able to cry and just let his guard down and be his real self in pain.
Well,
Because
as Terry describes it, you're in an environment where every single person whose eyes you look into knows exactly how you feel.
That's correct.
I mean, they get it because they are there too. And as Terry would say, and you know better than I do, his weekend and he and Beth's weekend that they've put together for all of you was born out of the simple fact they had nowhere to go with their grief. They were trying to figure out how do we make ourselves better. So by helping other people, in turn, they have begun the path to helping themselves.
That's correct. Double-edged sword. That's correct.
That is so true, because I just came back from California, which is why I couldn't do the interview with another organization, Tribute to Fallen Soldiers Northwest, and they just go and visit they do home visits for fallen soldiers, and they do the same thing. And that's what I do now, just like Terry and Elizabeth. I travel with them to other Gold Star families to let them know that they're not alone.
That's right.
That there's really other people out here who care about them. There was one mother who I also referred to Terry and Elizabeth's program for the next year. I met her on this other trip. She said for the past 10 years, no one has mentioned her son until that organization had come. So I said, you must
Really?
come to this retreat.
Yes.
You will be loved on. You will feel like the whole world loves your son after you leave this retreat, because that's how they make you feel there.
Yes, Terry is.
Yes.
He's very intense about taking care of us.
He's very serious about his parents, his Gold Star parents.
He
and
is.
they're just the best people. And I love them so much. And
Me too.
all parents that I know, all mothers, all fathers, I recommend them to them. I said, Terry, listen, I will, because I wanted to come again. I want to go again. But I said, if there's not enough space, I will
Right.
rent a hotel, because I want all newcomers to experience the whole experience there.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
it means that I have to stay at a hotel and come, to the place during the day, that's fine. Because I want every parent, every Gold Star parent to experience that retreat. It's therapy.
It
It's
is.
therapy for me.
It is.
Very,
I don't
very,
know that it
very
could
loving
be-
people.
I don't know that it could be said any better than that. You guys are special, Calvin and
Oh.
Sheila. I can't thank you enough. And God bless your son Etienne and his service,
Thank you.
your
Thank you.
sacrifice through all of this, and for shining a light and sharing a few thoughts on what is a really great program that's here in North Texas. And we're pretty proud to have those guys in our backyard.
Yes, I just want to say one more thing. I know we're pressed for time, but someone asked me, how do I feel, and what is it that I need from people? And God gave me a slogan. And I hear, I'm so sorry for your loss so much, and I'm so appreciative for that. But sometimes that's not enough. We need action. So I said, you know what I need? You know what Gold Star families need? We need, I'm sorry, to be put into action. And that is what Terry and Elizabeth Burgess's retreat is. The Gold Star
That's
Parents
right.
Retreat is, I'm sorry, being put into action.
That's
because they're
correct.
putting how they feel into action. And that is what Gold Star parents
Making a
need.
difference.
Yes, they're making a difference in changing lives. So thank you for having us.
Thank you.